Hi, welcome back to the garden. Today is Saturday, May 20th, and you know what that means. We're going to do a quick review of this garden, then we're going to go to you and celebrate what's going on in your garden. It's a glorious morning and we've had a ton of rain this week, and it shows. Come on, let's take a look. The raspberries are just loaded. The December cabbage from the coal frame is coming along nicely. This spaghetti squash that got frosted a couple weeks ago snapped back just fine. And our line of tomatoes, I got to get these trellised up. We've got a couple different kind of beans coming on here. We got some really long purple from Florida. We got some asparagus. I'm not sure what else I might have dropped in there. Oh, there's another line of tomatoes. And if you remember, it wasn't very long ago we planted this little bed of beets, put some mulch over the top, and this shows just how easy beets come right up through that little mulch. If you're new to my channel, you're in for a real treat. Saturdays are reserved for you and celebrating what's going on in your garden. This is a loose-knit community of folks that like to get their hands dirty and grow things that taste good, or just grow things in general. And you are invited to join us. All you have to do is send us some photos and we get to celebrate what's going on in your garden. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of our friends and neighbors around the world and see what's going on in their garden. I understand Nora is waiting on her husband to mulch the beds so she can finish planning out her delightful landscapes. In the meantime, here is some of the lovely greenery framing her patio. We look forward to your landscapes, Nora. Thank you. Art has been working hard to get his peppers big enough to put into the garden. Looks like he found a nice place next to the strawberries. Great job, Art. Thank you. Did your helper leave you a blue toy to plant? Mike and Linda's garden is just exploding. And what an awesome onion harvest. Your tomatoes will be turning red soon, and they are massive. And the season has just started. Thank you for sharing. We can't wait to see how this grows. Let's take a spin around Walter's garden, starting with his volunteer mint. His cucumbers have started to climb and put on flowers. His tomatoes are almost big enough to start trellising. Walter, this is fantastic, and what a great use of a very small space. Thank you for the great ideas. Weren't those terrific? This is where we get ideas. This is where we get inspiration. This is where we get motivation to come out here in the garden and do what we do. And if you hit that like button, YouTube would push this out to more people that might want to learn how to grow something in a garden. So I think today we're going to go ahead and try to trellis up as much as we can. These strings were already preset from last year. So we just push your stick in the ground. Then you take your thumb and you gently lift the leaf. Move the string, lift the next leaf. So you're basically just moving the plant around the string. And with your thumb you can kind of lift that leaf up as you move your string around. You go to the next level. Lift the leaf. Lift the leaf. You just do that until you run out of tomato. Then as this grows, we'll continue to wrap it up. This will support it. This kind of trellis is a game changer. Well, while I go ahead and set up a few more strings, let's go ahead and take a look at some more of our friends and neighbors around the world. Larry's garden is coming along nicely, and with Oreo keeping a watchful eye out for critters, you can be sure everything will continue to grow and start producing a bounty soon. Well, it looks like the bounty's already started to come in. Thank you, Larry, for sharing such creative ideas. Let's all welcome Greg to this community. He has a channel showing more of his garden, and I put a link in the description box below. I believe those are Egyptian walking onions. This is excellent, Greg. Thank you for sharing and welcome to this community. Weren't those incredible? Looking at our friends and neighbors around the world and watching how their garden grows, it is truly inspirational. Please leave a comment down below and let everybody know just how much you appreciate them sharing what's going on in their garden. Now while you're doing this, go ahead and prune out those suckers, take off those bottom leaves, any leaves that have any damage on them, and then, before you know it, you've got a row trellised. but it looks like I got quite a bit more. We're gonna go over and take a look at this squash. But while I'm moving over there, let's go ahead and take a look at a few more of our friends and neighbors. Denise's raised beds have really started to take off, and that fence full of flowers will be amazing. We're all glad you recovered nicely from that storm. Keep us posted. This looks great. Reese says he still has room to set up more containers, and as the cows finish the buckets, he will use that as succession planting. Those tomatoes look great, Reese. This is a wonderful use of space, and what a great way to recycle tubs for a great return. We look forward to seeing the growth and just how much you produce. Thank you, Reese. Rick's lettuce, onion, and spinach harvest gives us a glimpse of how well a combination container and mulch garden will do. Everything looks healthy and growing well. Your tomatoes and pepper beds are going to be just massive. Thank you, Rick. This is very exciting, and we look forward to seeing how this grows. Was I right or was I right? Our friends and neighbors are absolutely awesome. Now that last line of storms that came through last night had a pretty good wind with it. Kind of knocked down the Swiss chard. It's going to seed, so we're okay. But this leads into what I wanted to show you in the squash. Come on. I had a question whether or not having them strung up is going to damage them in a windstorm. Well, once they start getting mature, if we get a decent sized wind, it flips them back and forth on the ground. They seem to do okay that way. Now the folks that do this assure me that it's going to work. So we're going to find out. And I need the room. So you can let me be the guinea pig if you want. I'll make sure that's secure. But see, this also gives this a little bit of meat here to help support this bottom. We're only going to do a couple wraps just under these leaves. We'll be gentle with it. At this point, we do not want to hurt anything. We just take it up and tie it loosely to the top. And then when these two get just a little bigger, we'll go ahead and stake them up. If you can see already, look how much this has grown. I had that twisted all the way to the top. Now we come around another leaf and a half, and it's going to stay off the ground. And it made it through that windstorm yesterday. So I think we're good to go. And with all these volunteers in here, what's not to be happy about? Let's go ahead and take a look at another one of our friends. Valerie, your guard dog is fantastic. I tease, of course, but your container garden is no joke. Valerie, you are proof positive to the power of a container garden in a backyard. And the colorful blooms in every direction. In only a few short weeks, this has transformed from seedlings to a wonderland of beauty and delicious food. The size of those leaves are amazing. Valerie, you are a role model to us all. Thank you for the inspiration and the wonderful ideas. Your garden is simply blessed. That string of tomatoes will be spectacular, and I bet they taste as sweet as they look. I can't believe how fast this pepper came on. That overwinter pepper with the chives, got potatoes coming up right next to it. It made it through the winter just fine, just like that one. I invite you to become a member of this community. Let us celebrate what's going on in your garden. There's no commitment. All you have to do is email me at waylandsmalley5@gmail.com. And I guarantee all of the gardeners would love to see what you're doing in your garden. Our indeterminate russet potatoes were in here, and we were going to continue to mulch these, and I got a couple right outside here to test. They're growing good. I don't want to put any extra mulch. I don't want to give those voles any place to go. They kind of did a number on the potatoes this year. Even though I've dug back and we've treated heavy, I'm kind of afraid we're not going to get the yield I'd like to get. Oh well. As long as we drive them away and they don't get into the sweet potato patch, which we're going to be planting next weekend. These were down deeper and had more mulch on them than any of the other potatoes. And when we go to dig these, we'll carefully move that mulch back and see if we have layers of potatoes in here. All these other potatoes are determinate. They're just growing at root level right on the ground. But the sunflower, the amaranth, the corn, the okra, daikon radishes, more corn. Our pea pods are starting to swell. I'm getting excited. If you've never had peas right out of the garden, you don't know what you're missing. We're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lotus leaves here just directly. Now you can do this too, whether it's a small container on your windowsill, whether you got bags, whether you got buckets, whether you got raised beds, whether you got a traditional garden, whether you got a deep mulch garden. We all have one thing in common. We get our hands dirty and we like to grow things that are pretty and taste good. These peas got pollinated and are putting on pods. It's gonna be tough getting back behind that wire, but I'll figure it out. And we do have a few sweet potatoes to go in the ground next weekend. I hope you join me for that. Now if you want to learn a little something about planting tomatoes, click that link right there and I'll meet you back in the garden. If you want to learn a little bit about the deep mulch, click that link and I'll meet you back in the garden. You can do this too. Thank you for stopping by and celebrating our friends and neighbors around the world. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.